Decoding ancient maps, lost worlds and civilizations across the sands of time, humanity has left behind more than monuments, more than ruins. In the shadows of forgotten vaults, in the cracks of dusty archives, lie relics of knowledge far older than the ink they bear: maps. Not the kind that merely chart coastlines or rivers, but guides to worlds erased from history. For centuries, they were dismissed as fantasy. Today, we begin to decode them. The map that shouldn't exist in 1929, a curator at Istanbul's Topkapi Palace unfurled a piece of gazelle skin, its edges frayed, its colors faded. What lay before him was a fragment of a world map drawn by Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis. The coastlines of Africa and South America were familiar enough, but there was something else. At the southern edge, a sprawling landmass, rendered with striking accuracy, buried beneath ice, Antarctica. This map, drawn centuries before the first modern expedition sighted the frozen continent, ignited a firestorm of speculation. How could a 16th-century mapmaker depict a landmass hidden under 2 kilometers of ice? It was not an isolated anomaly. Across continents, from Babylonian clay tablets to Polynesian stick charts, maps have preserved the whispers of worlds we thought lost. Messages from the deep past. Ancient cartography was more than navigation. It was storytelling, memory, and survival encoded in lines and symbols. The oldest known map, etched in silver by the Babylonians over 2,500 years ago, placed Babylon at the center of the world, surrounded by regions both real and mythical. In China's ancient libraries, silk maps depicted river systems and mountain ranges with precision unmatched in the West for centuries. In the Pacific, Polynesian navigators crafted charts of seas using palm fibers and shells, not just recording islands, but the swell patterns of the ocean itself. These were not simply drawings, they were archives of observation, the accumulation of centuries of human experience. The cartographers of forgotten civilizations. The story of lost worlds begins with those who charted them. Some civilizations we know, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Mayans. Others remain nameless, their cultures erased, but their maps surviving. In the sands of Egypt, fragments of papyrus depict the gold mines of Nubia, not as myths, but as detailed coordinates, suggesting expeditions deep into Africa before the rise of Rome. In South America, the mysterious quipus of the Andes, bundles of knotted cords, may have been more than accounting tools. Recent research suggests they could encode spatial data, mapping trade routes and settlements long swallowed by the jungle. Maps are not just where we are, they are who we are. They remember when we forget. Decoding the unfamiliar modern technology has allowed us to see these ancient maps in ways their creators never imagined. Using satellite imagery, researchers have overlaid medieval portolan charts onto modern coastlines, revealing astonishing accuracy. In one case, a 15th-century Chinese maritime chart showed detailed islands in the Indian Ocean that exactly match underwater plateaus discovered only in recent years. This suggests that long before European discovery, sailors from distant civilizations were charting the globe. But decoding isn't always straightforward. Ancient maps blend reality and myth. Dragons marking here be monsters weren't mere superstition. They often warned of treacherous waters, reefs, or regions where storms claimed ships. The vanished lands. Perhaps the most tantalizing aspect of ancient maps is their depiction of places we can no longer find. Some are familiar myths: Atlantis, Brazil, Lemuria. But others are stranger still. The Zeno map of 1558 shows islands in the North Atlantic that do not exist today, or perhaps no longer exist above water. Polynesian oral maps speak of islands that sank in fire, which modern geology links to volcanic events and tsunamis. In the Bay of Bengal, Indian fishermen speak of the drowned cities, a network of ancient ports described in temple carvings, now lying dozens of meters below the waves. Satellite scans have revealed geometric patterns on the seabed that could match these accounts. The science and the controversy. Not all historians agree on the implications. Some argue that these maps prove advanced civilizations existed far earlier than our textbooks suggest. Others caution against reading too much into them, warning that coincidences can mislead. Yet the evidence grows. Ice core samples from Antarctica indicate that its coastlines were ice-free over 6,000 years ago, around the time some scholars believe early mariners could have mapped them. Archaeologists in the Amazon have found vast earthworks, geometric mounds visible only from the air, that match the layouts in certain pre-Columbian maps. These findings suggest the rainforest once held cities as sophisticated as those in the ancient Mediterranean. The hidden language of maps speak in layers. The surface shows geography, but hidden within the shapes, proportions, and alignments are cultural codes. Some ancient maps align with astronomical events, a river delta matching the constellation of Orion, or a coastline shape to mirror the curve of the Milky Way. To decode these is to enter the mind of the ancient mapmaker, to see the world not as a collection of borders, but as a living, breathing organism in harmony with the heavens. Rediscovering the lost worlds, the 21st century has given us tools that the ancients could not imagine. LiDAR scanning, satellite imaging, deep-sea drones. Yet, in a way, we are following their lead. Every archaeological discovery in recent decades that rewrites history has been hinted at somewhere on an ancient map. The buried city of Tanis in Egypt, noted in medieval Arab cartography. A temple complex in Cambodia, marked in faded ink on a 16th century scroll. A ridge in the Pacific, long thought a myth in Polynesian maps, found to be an undersea volcano. Each find brings us closer to understanding not only where these lost worlds were, but how much knowledge we have forgotten. Closing reflection, rising orchestral score. Maps are more than paper, more than ink. They are time machines, carrying whispers from minds that saw farther than we can imagine. They chart the rise and fall of worlds, the pulse of civilizations long vanished. And in decoding them, we are not just rediscovering lands. We are rediscovering ourselves. The maps remain silent, patient, waiting. Perhaps the next revelation lies rolled up in a private collection, mislabeled in a museum drawer, or etched into stone on a forgotten island. Somewhere, a clue rests to a city, a people, a world, erased from history, waiting for the day its coordinates are spoken aloud again.